Whoa, what's up, YouTube? Sad news today. Um, Actually, it was 2 days ago, on the 14th, the night of the 14th. New Jack died. The wrestler New Jack. I know some of you don't know who that was, but for those of you who don't, New Jack was a wrestler in Smoky Mountain, ECW, TNA, and XPW is where he's most known. But he's traveled as well in other promotions. He's mostly known because of the controversies that he's had within his career, and I'll get to those in a bit. But he died of a heart attack at 58 in his home. He's definitely one of my favorites because of partly because of the controversies, but partly because of what he stood for. Um, and what he stood for was something that a lot of people don't really understand because all they see is the controversy. So he started out in Smoky Mountain Wrestling and back in the early 90s, late 80s, and he pretty much was a bad guy from the beginning, a heel from the beginning because A, the way he looked, and B, he was in a racist environment. You know, he had to deal with a lot of racism. But instead of just sitting down and being a good little black employee, he threw racism in the faces of the racists. He was loud, he was obnoxious, but he was completely honest. He was totally just brutal with what he said. And it made him hated by people who were racist, but the people that got it, they were like, look at him flipping the script. It was awesome. He turned racism on his head. And he, of course, he became a tag team with Mustafa Saeed and became the Gangsters with him and D'Lo Brown. And there was a fourth member added somewhere. I don't remember who it was. But anyway, there was a storyline that I thought was hilarious, where New Jack used affirmative action to his advantage. So, of course, in wrestling, if you get pinned, you get a 1, 2, 3, right? And that's when you win or lose. When New Jack said, well, with affirmative action, I want 5 counts. So instead of 1, 2, 3, you would have to have the 4 and the 5 to beat New Jack. I thought it was clever. I didn't know about this when it happened, but I found out when I was an adult, and I was just like, wow, that is so innovative and amazing and funny. And it's like, a lot of people who would see that would say, oh my God, that's racist, or that's, terrible to use a system like that. But, when you look at people every day, people are trying to use whatever the systems that they can use to get ahead in life too. So I thought it was just a very good commentary on that, whether it was used for a comedy gag, whether it was a middle finger to white people or white racists or whatever. I just thought it was clever as hell and innovative. Um, his time in wrestling when he went to ECW was, yeah, he's known more for his controversies. I'm not going into them deeply, but you have the mass transit incident. You have the incident with Vic Grimes, where New Jack was injured himself. You have the incident with Gypsy Joe. You have the other incident with Vic Grimes, and then you have the injury with another guy. I don't remember his name, but New Jack stabbed him. Um, but when you look at it and you really look at the stories behind it, it's all about one thing: respect. Mass transit. He was a minor who lied about his age, and he was a rookie in a new locker room, and he walked up to the veteran and said, who was New Jack, and said, this is what I want to do. And you don't do that in wrestling. New Jack felt disrespected. You don't do that in wrestling. Um, the story with Vic Grimes was that the first time when New Jack got injured, it was an accident, but then he started going on with, I hurt New Jack, which New Jack felt disrespected, and New Jack retaliated. The time with Gypsy Joe was not selling what New Jack was doing to him. In other words, New Jack would throw a punch and he wouldn't react. So it pretty much made what New Jack was doing look fake. Disrespect. Especially among two veterans who know better. New Jack didn't tolerate that either. The guy that he stabbed. Um, New Jack went to talk to him about the match, and he had an attitude. New Jack was just like, "All right, I'll see you later. I'll see you out there." And the guy was just like, "Oh, wait, I screwed up. I pissed New Jack off." And then he started talking to him. New Jack had already had it, and that's the one thing that people don't realize about New Jack is that when you strip away the controversy, when you strip away the harsh words, the man had a respect for the wrestling business. He didn't want to go to WWF or WWE because he knew that they would water down his character and people would lose respect for who New Jack was. And when you talk to people about New Jack, like I said, they'll mention, "Oh yeah, he stabbed a guy, he did this, he did that." But they never really concentrate on the why. And again, like I said, the why is because he respected the business and he hated when people disrespected the business. But you got two groups when you talk about New Jack. You've got the ones that don't know him. And what I mean don't know him is not just personally, but don't really know his work. They just know what they hear in shoot interviews, and they believe every single thing that's said about him or said by him as if it's just him. But then you've got the people that do know him, the people that not only know him personally, but the people that understand or at least have an understanding of what is right about him and what is not right about him, what is New Jack and what is Jerome Young. And you'll hear stories about how, he was a drug addict and how he was an alcoholic, because it's true, he was. He admits it. One of his favorite lines to say was Dave Chappelle's, "Cocaine's a hell of a drug," or was it Rick James? Anyway, and he used to say it too. "I'm Rick James, bitch. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. That ain't my baby." So, but he's told a lot of funny stories, and he also said that he was a bounty hunter and he had 4 justifiable homicides. We don't know. A lot of people don't know if it's true or not, if it's part of his gimmick or if it's real. New Jack would do that sometimes because when you're a wrestler back then, a lot of people did protect the business and protect their characters. So we don't really know. But when you hear the people that knew him, okay, you would hear these stories about how he did drugs and alcohol, but then you would hear about how if I needed a place to sleep, New Jack was there. New Jack would give me the shirt off his back. When you listen to stories of, when they say New Jack, but what they're meaning is Jerome Young. When you hear the stories of Jerome Young, you'll hear that he was a polite person. He was a nice guy. He was giving. He was professional. He was funny. And that's the guy that I think I like to hear most about. Whereas, of course, wrestling fans like to hear about the controversy because wrestling is controversy. Wrestling is a soap opera with a lot more violence. So when I remember New Jack, and I really hope you guys look him up, and if you don't know about him, and if you do know really who he is, I hope you can understand what I'm saying. I remember New Jack, and I'm gonna remember him, and think about him as the total complete person that he was. The controversies, I don't believe the controversies should affect who Jerome Young was. I don't believe that the nice person that Jerome Young was said to have been should affect the character of New Jack in the ring. I believe that New Jack was necessary. Some of the things that he did was unnecessary, some of it was outlandish, and some of it was just wrong. But I believe that he should be known for the person that he was outside of the ring. And I think when you look at his story completely, you'll understand why he was who he was. But it'll also make you understand how this crazy guy gets to be loved by so many people. So yeah, that's my word about New Jack. Man, I hope peace for his family. I'm so sad, and his fans. I'm one of them. So, anyways, you guys like, share, subscribe, say prayers for New Jack's family and fans and everything. And rest in peace, Jack.